More than 20 civil service employees resigned today from Elon Musk's Department of Government Efficiency, saying they were refusing to use their technical expertise to dismantle critical public services. "We swore to serve the American people and uphold our oath to the Constitution across presidential administrations," the 21 staffers wrote in a joint resignation letter. However, it has become clear that we can no longer honor those commitments, they said. Earlier this month, about 40 staffers in the office were laid off. The firings dealt a devastating blow to the government's ability to administer and safeguard its own technological footprint, they wrote. According to the Trump administration's own data, nearly 40% of the federal contracts DOGE claimed to have cancelled as part of a signature cost-cutting program are not expected to save the government any money. The fake Department of Government Efficiency, overseen by Trump's domestic partner Elon Musk, released updated figures yesterday detailing nearly 2,300 federal contract cancellations across multiple agencies. However, the data published on DOGE's Wall of Receipts showed that 794 of these terminated contracts, more than a third, are projected to yield no financial savings. This lack of savings stems from the fact that the government has already fully obligated the contract funds. Legally, this means that agencies are required to pay for goods and services already rendered, regardless of the contract's termination status. In many cases, payments have already been made, leaving little opportunity for cost recovery. It's like confiscating used ammunition after it's been shot when there's nothing left in it. It doesn't accomplish any policy objective, said Charles Tiefer, a retired University of Baltimore law professor specializing in government contracting. Tiefer criticized the administration's sweeping approach to terminating contracts, arguing that such measures obviously don't accomplish anything for saving money.
He's a seriously high IQ individual. Now, he's got his faults also, I will tell you that. If you look at value, if it were a real estate balance sheet, the debt is tiny, but we still want to pay it down. Doesn't matter.
In addition to contract cancellations, the administration faces mounting criticism for mass firings of federal employees.
Who is the DOGE administrator?
So the president tasked Elon Musk to oversee the DOGE effort. There are career officials and there are political appointees who are helping run DOGE on a day-to-day basis.
This week, Trump stepped in to defend Elon from a mounting backlash in his own administration after some cabinet members told U.S. federal workers to ignore the billionaire entrepreneur's demand that they write an email justifying their work. Intelligence-related bodies, including the FBI, National Security Agency, CIA, they argued that employees could risk divulging classified information if they complied.
This was an idea that Elon come up with. DOGE worked with OPM to actually implement the idea. I actually participated in it myself. It took me about a minute and a half to think of 5 things I did last week. I do 5 things in about 10 minutes, and all federal workers should be working at the same pace that President Trump is working and moving. We have a country to save, and we want this federal government to be responsive to the needs of the American people who re-elected this president to have historic, massive reform, and that's what the intention of this idea is.
Thousands of probationary federal workers across the U.S. have recently received termination notices, many under the stated reason of poor performance. However, employees and legal experts argue that these claims often lack evidence and are being used to justify politically motivated purges. No evidence has been provided to justify the dismissals, and some of the terminated employees were actually among some of the highest performers. Some of the people terminated actually work on performance and efficiency. They literally work on the original DOGE before it was called DOGE, because of course the government already goes out of its way to try and be as efficient as possible. Labor law experts warn that these mass dismissals could lead to significant legal and financial repercussions. The firings they're conducting without following the law will result in hundreds of thousands of former federal employees being owed back pay, plus interest, plus benefits, plus attorney's fees. And when the bill comes, it'll be monumental, costing far more than the savings themselves. Despite these concerns, the Trump regime continues to defend its actions. However, the mass firings have caused turmoil across federal agencies. Some departments, including the U.S. Department of Agriculture and the National Nuclear Security Administration, have struggled to reverse the terminations of key personnel involved in critical projects, such as managing the bird flu epidemic.
The president sent out a truth last weekend to Elon Musk saying he loves everything Elon is doing and he wants him to be even more aggressive because DOGE thus far has proven incredibly successful in making our government more efficient. And so Elon and DOGE came up with this idea. Elon has implemented this at his private companies. It has proven successful. And it's a very simple idea when you think about it. All the Office of Personnel Management is asking, all this administration is asking, President Trump is asking, is for federal workers who live off of the American taxpayer's dime to send 5 bullet points of what they have done in the previous week.
One terminated employee from the U.S. Forest Service, who was just weeks away from completing their probationary period, described the devastating personal impact of the mass dismissals. Despite receiving positive performance reviews, they were issued a termination notice for poor performance. The employee, who requested anonymity due to fears of retaliation, described the financial and emotional toll of losing their job. The worker also revealed that they were asked to sign a non-disclosure agreement but refused. They expressed frustration at the administration's portrayal of federal employees as part of the fraud and waste and bloat that DOGE claims to be eliminating. Elon Musk destroyed 19 years of my career. It's gone, the worker said. We're all taxpayers here. I pay taxes, and I work my ass off for my job, despite whatever the rest of the public thinks about federal workers. The administration claims its cost-cutting measures, including contract cancellations and workforce reductions, have saved approximately $65 billion through terminating leases, cutting staff, and selling government assets. However, this figure has not been independently verified and is viewed with skepticism by many experts. Many of the cancelled contracts involved goods and services that had already been delivered or were essential to government operations. For example, the Department of Housing and Urban Development had fully committed $567,000 to purchase and install office furniture. Similarly, the U.S. Agency for International Development had already obligated $145,000 to a Michigan-based Native American-owned firm for carpet cleaning services. Another cancelled contract worth $249,000 was paid to a Washington, D.C. firm to assist the Department of Transportation with the transition from President Joe Biden's administration to Trump's. These terminations are examples of the administration's slash-and-burn approach, which is counterproductive. Genuine savings could be achieved through collaboration with agency contracting officers to identify inefficiencies, a step the administration has not pursued. As the Trump regime continues its efforts to reshape the federal government under the false flag of efficiency, legal and political battles over the long-term consequences of these actions are likely to intensify, as Musk and Trump slash programs and contractors that they've either never heard of or don't care for.
He's a very serious person, and he's a very high IQ people. You know, I like high IQ people. Not all have to be, but, you know, it'd be nice to have some people up there that he's a seriously high IQ individual. Now, he's got his faults also, I will tell you that. But not too many of them, which is now really waging war on government waste, fraud, and abuse, and they're curbing inflation and saving taxpayers billions and billions of dollars every single day because the numbers are incredible, Elon. So many billions of dollars, billions, hundreds of billions. And if you look at value, if it were a real estate balance sheet, the debt is tiny, but we still want to pay it down. Doesn't matter.
I'm Anthony Davis. You can find me on the 5 Minute News YouTube channel and podcast, on Wednesdays co-hosting Uncovered, and on Sunday on The Weekend Show with MeidasTouch.
Can't get enough Meidas? Check out the Meidas Plus Substack for ad-free articles, reports, podcasts, daily recaps from Ron Filipkowski, and more. Sign up for free now at MeidasPlus.com.